The corporal works of mercy, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, sheltering the homeless, and so forth, have been hijacked by ruthless, murderous, thieving Marxists. What was once the glory of the church has now become her shame, as so-called charitable organizations claiming the name Catholic are actively promoting abortion, contraception, homosexuality, and Marxist revolution. We've shown this time and again through various reports on Catholic Relief Services or the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. But the center of all of this rot is found right at the very top, in the Vatican itself. What we're about to show you is absolute proof that two highly influential umbrella organizations for Catholic aid and development agencies all around the world play an integral role in the machinations of an international communist organization seeking to reform civilization into the image and likeness of Karl Marx. Coming up on this special report from the Lepanto Institute. Caritas Internationalis is the Vatican-run umbrella organization for more than 160 Catholic-run aid and development agencies found on every continent in the world. These agencies include Catholic Charities USA, Catholic Relief Services, Development and Peace, CAFOD, TROCAIR, and many others that bear the name Caritas. The stated mission of Caritas Internationalis is to serve the poor and to promote charity and justice throughout the world. Its sister organization is called CIDSE, which is a French acronym for Coopération Internationale pour le Développement et la Solidarité, which means International Cooperation for Development and Solidarity. Its 18 members include Caritas member organizations like CAFOD, CORDAID, Development and Peace, and TROCAIR. Its stated mission is to serve the poor, promote justice, harness the power of global solidarity, and create transformational change to end poverty, inequalities, and threats to the environment, both global and local. Just from the mission statements alone, one hears the echoes of liberation theology and the movement toward a global Marxist utopia. And sadly, this is not a coincidence. Back in 2014, I wrote a report on Caritas Internationalis and its involvement in an international communist organization called the World Social Forum. What I showed was that Caritas Internationalis was on the International Council, which is the governing body of the World Social Forum. As proof, I provided an article that Caritas wrote in 2011 on its involvement in the Dakar World Social Forum. In the article, Caritas stated that the World Social Forum was, quote, supported from the outset by international organizations, including Caritas Internationalis, which is still a member of the International Council of the World Social Forum, end quote. I also provided the World Social Forum website showing the composition of its International Council, which clearly showed Caritas Internationalis and CIDSE on the list. My report from 2014 also showed that the World Social Forum was actively promoting abortion. For instance, in this picture, you can see World Social Forum attendees holding printed signs calling for the legalization of abortion. This flyer from the 2007 World Social Forum showed a pregnant woman nailed to a cross, quote, in memory of the victims of fundamentalism. In 2010, the World Social Forum Movement's Assembly issued a declaration stating, quote, we are committed to reinforcing our fight for our people, food, and energy sovereignty, and women's sovereignty over their bodies and their lives, and sexual diversity recognition. Sovereignty over their own bodies is code for abortion, and sexual diversity is code for homosexuality and transgenderism. And speaking of LGBT activism at the World Social Forum, here's a picture of LGBT activists at the 2004 World Social Forum carrying rainbow flags and signs saying, Rainbow Planet, judge not, support sexual preference. And here are trans activists marching in the 2005 World Social Forum. This particular pro-LGBT slogan about fundamentalisms makes it into the World Social Forum nearly every year. And just for good measure, here are a couple of tents dedicated to LGBT activism in Africa at the 2007 World Social Forum. And behind it all is the active promotion of communism. You can see red hammer and sickle flags waving at their marches here, here, and here. In this one, you can even see Caritas flags waving along with the red communist flag and the flags of local socialist organization called CTB. And here you can see a booth dedicated to communism at the World Social Forum. And all this while images of Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and other communist dictators dominated the scenes. Incidentally, in January of this year, CIDSE wrote a 20-year retrospective of its involvement in the World Social Forum. In this article, CIDSE boasted about how it and Caritas organized a big panel at the 2004 World Social Forum to address the question, how to redistribute power and wealth globally. In 2014, I had a meeting with the Pontifical Council Cor Unum, whose stated mission, at least until 2017, when it was assumed into the dicastery for promoting integral human development, was, quote, the care of the Catholic Church for the needy, thereby encouraging human fellowship and making manifest the charity of Christ. The purpose of the meeting was to provide fully documented evidence that Caritas Internationalis, which at the time was under the authority of Cor Unum, was on the governing body of an international communist organization that was actively promoting abortion, homosexuality, and Marxism. My information was warmly received, as the head of the council at the time was Cardinal Robert Sarra. However, within months of this meeting, Cardinal Sarra was moved from Cor Unum and made prefect for the Congregation for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments. And less than 3 years later, Cor Unum was absorbed into the newly created Dicastery for Integral Human Development. The bottom line is this: I gave the Vatican clear evidence of this grave situation, and not only was nothing done about it, it has actually gotten worse. In 2017, CIDSE and Caritas renewed their membership in the World Social Forum. The renewal letter signed by both organizations begins, "Dear Comrade," and mentions that the International Council of the World Social Forum is in the process of restructuring, and indicating that those organizations which express a desire to renew membership on the International Council, quote, shall delegate representatives with decision-making power in the meetings in which it participates. In short, by renewing their membership on the International Council, CIDSE and Caritas both acknowledge that their membership on the International Council means that they are making real decisions and guiding the direction of the Social Forum itself. In signing the letter, Caritas Internationalis indicated that the Secretary General of Caritas, who was Michel Roy at the time, signed the letter and affirmed its membership on the International Council. In stating reasons for remaining on the International Council, Caritas said, quote, it is our conviction that the World Social Forum is, and will continue to be, the privileged space for building ideas, initiatives, and meetings of citizens of the world, synergies of organizations and networks, movements and civil society entities that, like Caritas, believe in, quote, building another possible world. CIDSE, for its part in signing the letter, said, quote, the World Social Forum is the most important international space created by and for civil society and social movements in the South in particular. It also reiterated that, quote, CIDSE has been a member of the International Council on the World Social Forum and involved in it since its beginnings. And while acknowledging its role in making decisions for the World Social Forum on the whole, its only hesitation was in signing any political statements. As indicated in the renewal letter, the World Social Forum's International Council was being restructured. The purpose of the restructuring was to move the forum away from being merely a meeting or discussion space for revolutionary groups, and to put more emphasis on decision-making for collective declarations and public action. And at the heart of this restructuring process was Caritas Internationalis and CIDSE. After 3 years of debate and discussions, an International Council meeting in 2020 concluded that the International Council must be directly in charge of facilitating the direction of the World Social Forum. One of the conclusions of the meeting was that the International Council must, quote, demand massive action to give direction to the forum. We need an organizational capacity for articulation. Building on this, the restructure indicated that the International Council must be responsible for, quote, making initiatives visible and to exchange activities. Pierre George of Caritas Internationalis was more precise. He said, quote, we have to formulate a decision protocol by consensus. That is, there is a document, a written formulation finalized from the discussion, and that it be presented to the International Council list with a deadline for organizations, tacitly or explicitly, to say if it suits them and accepts this formulation. This proposal was adopted, and the International Council took a much more active role in the 2021 first ever virtual World Social Forum. We should note here that we have had access to International Council meeting notes going back more than a decade, and at no point in the entire history of the World Social Forum has either CIDSE or Caritas Internationalis used their seat at the table to curb the pro-abortion, pro-LGBT Marxist activities promoted by the World Social Forum. And as I said, since Caritas and CIDSE have taken a more active role in the World Social Forum, to the point of requiring a consensus of the International Council for forum activities and organizational involvement, things have actually gotten worse. Let's start with official social media activities of the International Council itself. This is the official Facebook page of the International Council of the World Social Forum. On January 2011 of this year, the International Council posted a 20-year retrospective on the World Social Forum, ending with this little gem. Alejandra Scampini celebrating the legalization of the right to abortion in Argentina. Quote, that's why the FSM, meaning the World Social Forum, has to be a feminist forum. How many political actions by law have come out of FSM? Thousands. On December 20th of 2020, the International Council posted an article celebrating the decriminalization of abortion in Argentina. In May of 2020, the International Council posted this, quote, study of the needs of sexual and gender diversity population in Morocco. In June of 2020, the International Council promoted a 10-week course on Marxism put on by the International People's Assembly, a neo-Marxist organization. In September of 2020, the International Council promoted an event run by the Left Forum called Plato for Revolutionaries. As you can see, the image advertised in the event has Socrates drinking hemlock at the top and the Marxist revolutionary Vladimir Lenin at the bottom. And what is promoted by the International Council is subsequently promoted by the World Social Forum as a body. These posts come directly from the World Social Forum's own Facebook feed. On May 27, 2019, the World Social Forum posted a fundraising campaign for Planned Parenthood saying, abortion, keep it safe and legal and funded. On March 30th, 2019, the World Social Forum posted a video smearing the Trump administration for putting obstacles against illegal immigrants obtaining abortions. On May 12th, 2019, the World Social Forum posted a message from author Bess Kalb saying, quote, if men got pregnant, they'd sell abortion mints at every grocery store checkout next to the Altoids. On May 15th, 2019, the World Social Forum posted an article decrying the abortion ban voted on in Alabama. Remember, Caritas and CIDSE made clear the necessity for the International Council to be actively involved with organizing and outreach. These posts could not have been made without their approval. And again, I personally hand-delivered a fully documented report on this problem to the Vatican in 2014. In March of 2020, the World Social Forum posted a series of feminist memes, including one that says, "Thank a feminist if you're a woman and you can get an abortion." In March of 2019, the World Social Forum lamented an 11-year-old rape victim's inability to obtain an abortion in Argentina. In November of 2018, the World Social Forum posted these images from the LGBT organization called GLAAD, pushing for inclusive language for sexual deviance. And just as you would expect, the promotion of Marxism is on full display. Like this post, calling the Russian Federation a rogue nation, while referring to the Communist Chinese as peers. Or this one, which calls Communist Cuba the most sustainably developed nation in the world. And this post of a man explaining Marxist ideologies to his cats. And this barely even scratches the surface. By far the most egregious and damning evidence that we found against Caritas and CIDSE came through what was actually broadcast during the 2021 World Social Forum. Now, I can't emphasize this point enough. Caritas Internationalis and CIDSE are on the International Council of the World Social Forum. They were instrumental in making sure that the International Council was more involved in guiding and directing what happens and what is promoted at the World Social Forum. Keep all of this in mind as we go over this. The World Social Forum officially sanctioned a 3-hour panel discussion titled Revolutionary Feminisms for Other Possible and Necessary Worlds. This is the World Social Forum's webpage showing the flyer for the panel discussion, as well as a brief outline describing what it's all about. Here are a few key lines. The objective of the discussion panel is, quote, to denounce the impact of the perverse alliance between capitalism, patriarchy, and coloniality on women's bodies, and to evidence the strategies of feminist struggle and resistance. The reference to women's bodies is clearly a reference to abortion. So under that, they have sub-themes, and under the sub-themes are a list of points. Sub-theme 1 has to do with fighting capitalism and patriarchy. Sub-theme 4 says, quote, sexual and reproductive rights, the right to decide about our own body, abortion as a strategic node of women's freedom. Sub-theme 6 actually suggests fighting against the Catholic teachings on human sexuality and abortion, saying, quote, religious, political, and economic fundamentalisms from the state and from society, coercing women's freedom and democracy. And toward the bottom of the description of this panel discussion, it says that they will achieve their goals through, quote, sharing feminist and sexual diversity struggles that take place in our territories, in each continent and country, confronting racism, heteropatriarchy, male supremacy, religious, economic, and political fundamentalisms. In other words, they intend to promote sexual deviancy and tear down the traditional family. Now, there were several video presentations on the topic of feminism comprising about 17.5 hours of material, so what I'm going to show you is just a small sample of what we found. In this video titled Feminisms and Sexual Diversity, the speaker discusses how these feminists have pressured the International Council to give them promotional space over the years, and with the newly organized structure of the International Council, orchestrated by Caritas and CIDSE, they finally obtained a platform.
We wanted to, from the outside, pressurize the World Social Forum to take up issues which were more relevant to us and to give us more space within. So the access and all the theoretical dialogues that went on in the International Council should take up the issues which we thought were very important. And I think that that was the time when, the churning happened, and the space that gave us, so we had the WSF space and we had this outside space also. Hina spoke about abortion. They did not have the right to abortion. We had the right to abortion, but it was being used in a way that was not feminist. You know, a man had to sign for a woman getting an abortion. In Brazil, it was really strange. In Brazil, the representative of the peasant movement, for example, quite candidly said that it was not possible for their movement to take up the issues of abortion because of the influence of the church. Now, if we were having a paper and reading a paper, I don't think that would have happened. So the core idea of the inter-movement dialogue was that as movement activists, we need to not only accept differences, diversity, and intersectionality, but also incorporate them within our movement strategies.
What's clear from this video is that the promotion of abortion through these feminist presentations was permitted directly by the International Council, which of course includes Caritas and CIDSE. And with this promotion, one of the very first things that these feminists did was to hold a pagan ritual, introducing 5 elements to invoke the Pachamama as a guide and protector of their feminist revolution. This ritual is steeped in occultism, including references to water as the blood of the earth and the use of a black candle, common in witchcraft.
This ritual. Gladys Campos, can you please do the water? Yes. Here I'm holding the vessel with water. This represents the blood of the earth. So water is also the blood that flows through our veins. Thank you, Gladys. Please, Valentina, with the seeds. She's in Puno right now. Comrades, I have the seeds.
This is the light that leads our way in order to promote our struggles. What would be of women without light? There wouldn't be colors in fruits, there wouldn't be flavors. We defend the Pachamama. This light leads the way of all women in the world. It helps us make our demands visible as peasant and indigenous women. I have the 5th element. We call this a mystic, honoring earth, light, seed. And the 5th element is organization. We're fighting against this patriarchy, which is sexist and male chauvinist, and we need to fight against it. One of the main requirements is to defend the territory of our bodies. I really hope that this event will be a success with the blessing of the Pachamama and the strength of our feminist grandmothers and mothers. They used to tell them they were witches and they burnt them, but they actually defended our rights. First of all, thank you for the mystic. From the Latin American and Caribbean culture and also from other peoples, we celebrate life by honoring all cardinal points. We need fire, water, seed, organization, and the whole cosmovision in order to find ourselves.
Many of the World Social Forum 2021 videos included invocations of the Pachamama. Can it really be a coincidence that the references to this pagan deity are being made by an organization whose governing body includes Vatican representation? The same Vatican that just a year before enthroned the Pachamama in the Vatican gardens and on the very altar of St. Peter's Basilica? At 30 minutes into this panel discussion, one of the participants holds up a green kerchief to, quote, salute the decriminalization of abortion.
And as a proposal, we talk about working with Pachamama. We need to celebrate March the 8th as a resurrection of women, a fight in the house, in the society, and the revolution of women. I think that these are some of the reflections. I know there were many others, but I would also like to talk to you about something that came from our fight, which is this, you can see this, the green wave that had an important victory to be able to defend life and to defend choice.
Leading into this feminist panel discussion is a video that they produced celebrating homosexuality, the decriminalization of abortion, and Karl Marx, while mocking the Catholic Church and the Church's teachings on life and human sexuality.
L'entente d'activisme permanent. De la violence de genre et de l'éducation sexiste. On pourrait voir des mobilisations plus récentes. Là, on est passé dans...
Throughout the panel discussion, several of the speakers discussed so-called women's struggles to obtain a legal right to an abortion. But this one addressed her direct work in helping to decriminalize abortion in Argentina.
I am part of the abortion campaign for a free, safe abortion in Argentina. And we work with more than 700 movements, NGOs, cultural centers, feminist centers. We have been in the making for 15 years. It has to do with abortion, free abortion, and Argentina, and in December in Argentina, after many meetings, plenary sessions, marches, movements in the streets, we've conquered free legal abortion, and as of Sunday, any person in our country has the possibility to voluntarily interrupt their pregnancy up to the 14th week of pregnancy.
After this, one of the speakers outlined the plan to export decriminalization of abortion to other Catholic countries.
This struggle has become a trans-border struggle. More than 20 countries have participated. Feminist colleagues and comrades have participated in the marches in the streets. And in 2018, this green handkerchief has become a symbol of this struggle. We have to pay attention. We have to be aware. We know by the Uruguayans, the Italians, that sometimes it's difficult to access and we are looking at Poland and Honduras that they have had backfires in the last weeks. We are looking at the comrades who have been arrested for aborting, for having an abortion. Here in Argentina today, we are demanding with this law that all the women who have gone to jail because of an abortion be freed. So now I'd like to give a warm regards that this free and legal abortion movement, I hope that it can be possible also in your countries, and I will see you in the next forum.
Still not proof enough of the malfeasance on the part of Caritas Internationalis and CIDSE? What about this activity, officially sanctioned and promoted by the World Social Forum? Its entire purpose was to train radicals in pushing for the legalization of abortion in their own countries. The bottom line is this: Caritas Internationalis and CIDSE are on the governing body of a communist organization that is actively venerating the Pachamama, is pushing acceptance of homosexuality and transgenderism, and is advocating for the decriminalization of abortion all over the world. And again, I gave a highly detailed report to the Vatican in 2014 on this material, and shortly thereafter, Cardinal Sarah was moved out of Cor Unum. Not only has nothing been done to resolve this issue, but as you have seen, it is so much worse than it has ever been. We have many more details in the documented report accompanying this video, and I highly encourage you to examine it for yourself. What I just showed you is just the tip of the iceberg, but it's a perfect illustration of just how deeply serious the crisis in our beloved church truly is. Pray the rosary daily for our clergy, for the consecration of Russia, and most especially for the Pope. In the meantime, write to your bishop and tell him about this report. Explain to him that you absolutely refuse to give any money to any USCCB or Vatican collection until the Vatican's relationship with this demonic communist organization is completely severed and a formal apology is issued.